I recently came out with a brand new book called Photoshop Compositing Secrets, and it talks all about selections and compositing inside of Photoshop. So I wanted to show you a tutorial that kind of a tutorial on puppet work. So it actually has nothing to do with compositing, which I'll do some tutorials on compositing here as well. But this one is on puppet warp that I used before I ever even got to the composite. Okay, which, by the way, I'll show you real quick. You can pick it up over on Amazon right now. It actually sold out on Amazon. That's of when I did this video. Hopefully by the time you're watching this, it'll be back in stock. It's also on barnesandnoble.com. And then of course you could always go to kelbytraining.com, go to the book section, and I'm actually signing all the copies of anybody that orders it from over at Kelby Training, so you can catch it over there as well. All right, so let's jump back over here into Photoshop. Here's the original photo. I'm going to shift click on the layer mask just to show you. This is what the original photo looked like. Okay, so I did a selection with the quick selection tool just to very quickly, essentially, hold on, let's go. I'll actually do it here. You could see very, very quick selection. It's on a contrasty background, and he doesn't really have hair or anything like that. So this selection is probably one of the easier ones that you're ever going to be creating. But that's how I created my selection. Once I had the selection, I clicked the layer mask button, and that's how I got this. So what we want to do here is, if you look, what I was looking for is symmetry. You could see his arm here, and then this arm here, it's not quite symmetrical in the way that they look. So we can use Puppet Warp, which is a new tool that was in Photoshop CS5 to help us out here. Here's one of the keys, is that you're going to want to get this off of the layer that has the layer mask on it. All right. So the first thing that I'll do is I'm going to command click on the Mac or control click on the PC. I'm going to click on the layer mask because that's going to put a selection around everything. And then I'm just going to press command J on the Mac or control J on the PC. And let's just go ahead and hide this bottom layer. So now what I'm left with is the same outline of the person. It's just now they're on transparency instead of the original one where there's just a layer mask that's kind of hiding them from, or hiding the background. Okay, so we have the same basic idea. It's just we have basically a regular layer with transparency all around. Well, we're going to come up here to the edit menu, and we're going to come down to the image menu, and then, oh, sorry, that's why it wasn't there. Sorry about that. Come to the edit menu. See, I knew it was there. Puppet Warp. I was clicked on the wrong layer. I was clicked on the hidden layer down here. And Puppet Warp automatically just puts this grid around people. So what I always think of, I think of this at first in terms of what do I want to lock down. And if it's a person, I usually think of it in terms of like bending places and joints and whatnot. So I'm going to click to lock down his shoulder. I'm going to click over here to do the same thing on the other shoulder. I'm going to put a couple onto his head because I don't want his head to move. One right here on the neck. And I always try to be fairly symmetrical about it. Put him on his chest here. All right. And I don't really want his torso to move a whole lot. I don't really want his legs to move a whole lot. And then we come over here, and I'm going to put one in the middle arm, in the middle, and on his hands. So if you look at everything, it's fairly symmetrical in the way, and if you think about the way that a person would move, we kind of want it to be that way. So at this point, the way this works is all these dots, they kind of serve as hinges. So right now, the dot over here, it's the one that has a circle inside of it, that's selected. So now I can move that around. Okay, so I'm going to undo because I don't really want to move just that. I want to move his whole arm over. The thing is, the reason why I had to create all these other ones is if I just put a dot over here, as I start to move this, things are going to fold. Like watch, see how it starts moving other parts. Even though it's just moving his leg for the most part, it's moving other parts of him. All right. He's kind of dancing. Sorry. It's kind of weird looking. So that's why we have to put multiple points around the image, because we want to lock all these things down, because only the ones that get clicked on are the ones that are going to move. So I'm going to click on this one. I'm going to shift click on this one. So now when I click and drag, see how they both move? All right. And then you can click off, and I can kind of just bring, in fact, what I want to do here is let's bring this one up just a hair, just to keep it symmetrical. And then I'm going to bring this one and bend it in just a little bit, because I moved this whole arm the first time, but now I just want to bend this in just slightly so it looks fairly symmetrical here. It doesn't have to be totally perfect, but you want to get it as close as possible. And when you're done, you can come up here, just click this little check mark button, and you'll see. So take a look. That's before, after. All right, so now his arms are kind of down at the side, both pretty much at the same angle. And that's where puppet warp comes in. I don't think of, you might have seen some goofy uses of puppet warp. And I try to think of it that way. I try to think of it as very, very subtle little tweaks that you might want to make to a person. Instead of making a person's leg appear bent when it wasn't, I think of it as just trying to kind of capture a little bit of symmetry where something might not have been perfect, whether it's a person or no matter what it was. The puppet warp really comes in handy for that. So, and just remember, when you get in here and you go to puppet warp, just drop down points that you want to lock down. Again, here, I'll use this as an example before I put all the points down, but you're going to see if I don't put those points down, now he kind of rotates around them. So that's why you have to go in there and you have to put points that you're never going to click on just to keep it locked down, because only ones you do click on are what actually get moved. All right. Well, folks, my name is Matt Kliskowski. Hope you enjoyed. And of course, if you wanted to check out the Photoshop compositing book, where and part of the tutorial in the book is I go through how to take them off the background, how to put them onto this new background, how to create the background and the lights and all the effects and all that stuff. But if you want to check it out, you can, again, Kelby Training, you can go to barnesandnoble.com and then also over at amazon.com. Thanks again.